Hey Vault Hunters, JV here, and today we're taking a look at gameplay for the first DLC of Borderlands 3. This morning, Gearbox put out a 13, almost 14-minute gameplay of what we're going to expect in the first few minutes of Moxxi's Heist of the Handsome Jackpot. In case you missed it, this was first revealed 2 weeks ago via trailer, and the announcement was that this DLC will be coming on December 19th. So, this means that we're only 2 weeks away from the first official DLC for Borderlands 3. In case you don't have time to watch the gameplay yourself, here's a brief overview of what we see. So it's essentially the very start of the DLC where you're introduced to Jack's floating casino out in space. The story context for this is that Jack stole Moxxi's plans to build a casino because they used to date, of course, because Moxxi's dated pretty much every male character in the Borderlands universe. And so she's recruiting you along with some crew members, and you see some of these in the trailer. I don't think we know these characters yet. I believe they're new. I'm not 100% on that though. This is a personal mission. Moxxi wants to take this casino back because she believes it's rightfully hers. And we know it's been derelict, it's been abandoned out in space for 7 years. Again, this is all within the context of the larger universe. We know that we killed Jack in Borderlands 2, the Vault Hunters did there. So this has been out there, and we don't know what's been going on, so you gotta fight through Jack's defenses. Of course, Jack's AI is still there, defending the place along with all of the Hyperion security forces. You'll also run into what's described as crazed casino goers, and so far this just looks like bandits. They actually have a little crew that you run into in the first 15 minutes of the game with a boss named Third Rail. I don't think this is spoilers because it's in the gameplay. Long story short, you'll roll over this guy pretty easily, but if I had to guess, there's going to be plenty of surprises in terms of enemies, lots of interesting bosses. At least that's what's promised in this DLC. Throughout the video, we can tell that this gameplay is from the perspective of Zane, but he's a level 23, and all of the enemies that he's facing range from like 19 to 21. Normally, this is the part of the video where I speculate on what level you need to be, but we've got guaranteed information this time. You need to be at least level 13 to play through the Moxxi's Heist DLC. You also need to have reached Sanctuary in order to do this, so that would be through Chapter 5 of the game's main story. We also know that as long as you are level 13 and can access the content, that this DLC will scale to your level. So that's really nice. It doesn't matter where you are along in your journey, you can hop on and play this DLC, and it will scale and it will be fun for you. There are also some new crew challenges that are promised to be suitably difficult and rewarding. I've been away for Borderlands for a bit, so I didn't get to experience Bloody Harvest, but I'm excited to try out Mayhem 4 and see how the scaling works and see if they've really balanced this stuff out for the new content. In terms of what kind of enemies we'll be facing, there's a guarantee there will be plenty of Hyperion. So you'll want to bring stuff to bust through shields if they have shields, but most importantly, corrosive. There's going to be a lot of armor to bust through, and as you guys know, that matters a lot depending on what mode you're on, but especially so in true Vault Hunter. Same goes for all of the casino goers, and from what we've seen so far, they mostly look like bandits. And if you are on lower difficulties, you usually can get away with just bringing fire or incendiary weapon types and loadouts. That usually does the trick, but as you ratchet that up, of course, you guys know you will need stuff to punch through shields and armor. And the variety there is off the charts. We don't really know what to expect from these enemies, so it's best to be prepared for any scenario. Another thing we can prepare for, if it wasn't abundantly obvious, is legendary weapons and gear. There's going to be a lot of new stuff to collect: Vault Hunter heads and skins, weapon trinkets, an Echo device skin, and new emotes. And if you paid close attention to the trailer from 2 weeks ago, you can see a lot of this stuff being showcased, especially this Moe's Make It Rain emote, which is pretty cool. There's not much else to get out of this gameplay. It's fairly cut and dry Borderlands experience from what I can tell on the surface, but we can speculate a bit more about what we're going to expect in this DLC by looking at the past DLCs for previous Borderlands games. Starting with the first Borderlands, we had 4 pieces of story content that I would really compare to Moxxi's Heist, and on average, these took anywhere from 4 hours if you're just going through the main story to 6 hours, with the exception of General Knox, which took 6 to 15 hours if you were going for a completionist, do absolutely everything playthrough of the content. With Borderlands 2, we had a ton of DLC, but just counting the big sort of meaty story pieces, we had Captain Scarlet, we had Mr. Torgue's campaign, we had Big Game Hunt with Sir Hammerlock, Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep, and the fight for Sanctuary that came out right before Borderlands 3. All of those land in between similar ranges. So at the very least, it's 3 hours if you're rushing through, but on the upper end, it could be 11 to 12 hours. Just for comparison's sake, the pre-sequel had the Claptastic Voyage, which was 5 hours at the least, up to 9 hours if you're getting everything out of it. So that was a lot of information. What can we get from that? I believe that this DLC will land in the 4 to 12 hour range. If we're taking all of this data, all of these pieces of DLC, it'll be somewhere around that. And that's including the rushing side of things and also the longer side of things. But we don't know. This could be a new paradigm for Borderlands DLC. Maybe Gearbox wants to set a new precedent, making these things longer than we expect and what we've had before. In any case, I expect it to be like one of those story DLCs where we have the main story, but also a lot of side missions and other things to do. And of course, like we said earlier, there's going to be crew challenges. So in terms of how long you're going to spend playing this DLC, I will bet plenty of money that is between that 4 to 12 hour or more range. I would not expect anything less than 4 hours. One big thing I was curious about is, what about the level cap? Are we increasing from 50 to 55 or 50 to 60? Is that coming in this DLC? And I believe the answer is no. In an episode of the Borderlands show, Gearbox confirmed that a level cap increase is not coming for, quote, a good while. Now, there are many reasons they would do this. In my opinion, the first one would be that they don't want to pull the rug out from all of our accomplishments that we've done so far. Borderlands 3 did come out in September. We've had the Bloody Harvest. There's been some new stuff kind of floating around, but relatively, I mean, 2.5 months is not that long. And so if you're just moving the goalpost, that feels unfair to players that might not be playing this game a ton, and you know, they don't want to have to go chase that new thing to make them feel the most powerful. They want to feel the accomplishment and the weight of the actions that they've already taken. On the other hand, I can see the people that log on and play Borderlands 3 every day and have since launch being a little frustrated by this. They want something new to chase, and so I think we're still getting some new stuff to chase. There will be new legendaries, there will be new class mods that'll really shift, or hopefully it will shift the paradigm in terms of, you know, loadouts and what's the best in the meta and all of that stuff. But for the silent majority, most of the people playing Borderlands, this is probably fine. They're not really up in arms and they're not upset about no level cap increase. So I'm sure we'll see that in maybe just a minor update in the future, or it might roll out with the next DLC after Moxxi's Heist. That rounds out everything I wanted to share today. Personally, I'm really excited to explore all of the new areas, and it seems like it'll be vast in terms of all the places we can visit in this space casino. Also, it's a super novel idea, and it's something that is very Borderlands, but at the same time feels new. So I'm excited to use the subway system within this space casino and explore everything there is to do and get all of the new loot. In the comment section, let me know what you're most excited to do in this first DLC for Borderlands 3. Share your thoughts below. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and remember to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss another video. Check the description for links to my social media and join my community Discord server. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.